Hey everyone, welcome back to Skills Canada Technical Training Guide for Graphic Design Technology. In this video, we are talking about die lines, and die lines are very important for any sort of packaging that you're going to be doing. In the project description, it's going to have very specific rules on how that the die line must follow. And so some of those rules must be that the package is obviously designed in Illustrator or InDesign, but the die line must be on its own separate layer above all other artwork set to overprint, and it must use a die line spot color that is named die line. It's not case sensitive, but it must follow those requirements. We're just going to look at a document. I'm going to show you some of the things that we look for when we're looking at die lines. So in the last year competition, the competitors were given a die line for a seed packet, and you can see that this is a die line that includes a glue area, it includes fold lines, it includes cut lines. We got a little legend down here, and this was given to the competitors, and the competitor had to build a box that would hold 5 of those seed packets. So this is a competitor's die line, and as you can see, they measured it out so it does hold those 5 packets. Now, one way you can work in InDesign, and as you can see, this competitor, the way they worked, is they started by creating a bleed guide so they knew where their bleeds would come out to, and they were very careful to make sure to respect the glue areas to make sure that there was no ink that fell within those areas. So I'll just show you for both of these. You can see that the bleed guide omits or doesn't go inside of the glue areas. If I turn on their other art here, you can see how the design ended up. All right, and what we'll usually do is we'll go in here and take a we'll take a look, not a quick look, but we'll take a look, turn off our bleed guides, make sure everything is accurate and none of the ink is going into those glue zones. And we got accurate bleed, which I showed you in the last video. But this is a good way to work when you're building a document. You'll notice in this particular file right here, the person who had designed this, if I turn off the bleed guide, they actually, and this is such a small amount, but this would lose you the point. You can see that the ink is extending into the glue area. And so they would have lost some points for that. Okay. Obviously, like I said, if you're working with die lines, you don't necessarily have to be in Illustrator. You can do this in InDesign as well. But it's very important that the die line sits at the very top. It's overprinting, set to magenta, and it has a spot color named die line so that you know that it's going to be correct. All right, and we can verify that really quickly by going to our separations preview and making sure that our separations have the die line set, as you can see, to its own spot color. And when it turns off, we don't see any white outlines, we don't see any overprint. The overprint is clearly on because otherwise we would see some knockout here, and you can see that that is correct. All right, so that's what you got to watch for when you're doing packages and die lines. Make sure everything is set up correctly because you can easily lose points from very simple little mistakes.